There's all sorts of chatter going on right now about the Indiana Hoosiers in the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Look, I admit it, I've got a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now from the App Store and Google Play. Well, thank you so much for making this your first listen each and every day. Shout out to all of you everydayers out there. You're the reason we continue to do this each and every day because you are here every single day. So thank you so much for that. A reminder, we're always free and available. Video, audio, no matter how you get us, you'll never pay for an episode of Locked On Hoosiers. So keep that in mind as well. The portal chatter is starting to heat up, getting a little noisy out there for the Indiana Hoosiers as we've picked up a couple of players, but looking to add more through the portal. We'll talk about Connor Essegian today, the Wisconsin guard who we mentioned a little bit about yesterday, took a visit and is on another one right now, but going somewhere else as of now. So we'll see what the latest is on him. Plus, Elijah Malone, a new name we have yet to discuss here on the show, is just wrapping up a visit to Indiana, a center from NAIA, so a little bit different of a prospect, but we'll talk about him as well. Plus, good news for the Indiana Hoosiers. Bryson Tucker, the five-star freshman, officially signs, plus some Indiana football spring game takeaways as the spring game was just last night. So all of that coming up on the show today. Well, there's a couple of names that we need to talk about, and we've been talking about so many different names for Indiana, right? I mean, there's just been so many that have popped up that have gone into the circulation kind of guys that we felt good about, and then others have fallen off, and you know, some on the hot boards, if you will, and some that continue to fall off. But someone we talked about yesterday was Connor Essegian, the Wisconsin transfer guard, who had really good numbers his freshman year and sort of dropped off in that sophomore year. And I told you not to worry about that, but I'm not worried about it either. And it seems like Indiana's not overly concerned about that either, because they are very, very much in the running here. And I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to say that we're in the lead for him, but we're right there. We are right there with a couple of other big name programs in the Big Ten, which is funny that he's leaving the Big Ten and getting recruited by big Big Ten schools. Indiana, Nebraska, and Ohio State's trying to get in on this too. And he's on a visit as of last night. Essegian was on a visit to Nebraska. And so waiting to see and kind of hear how that goes. I think Nebraska is very much in it. I think we, Indiana, are very much in it. And the word is that Ohio State's also trying to get a little love here and trying to bring him on a visit to Columbus. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, some of those other schools, Nebraska in particular, could possibly offer him a starting spot. I don't know if they can or not. I don't know if they will or not. But Indiana probably will not. Indiana probably will not offer Essegian a guaranteed starting spot on the team. Doesn't mean he can't earn it, right? Doesn't mean he can't get to that level and to that starting role. But I just don't know if that's going to be what Indiana's able to offer him with all the guys we have coming in and the ones that are coming back. I mean, you do have the Trey Galloway argument in the shooting guard spot, and a lot of people are getting fired up about that, whether Trey Galloway should start next year or not, as he's coming back for his 17th year of college. Should he be the starter for the Indiana Hoosiers at the 2 spot? I don't know. You tell me. I don't think so. I think if you bring in the right talent, I think he's had his moment in the sun. I think he can be a key piece for you off the bench, can Trey Galloway. But, and not even talking about Connor Essegian in particular, just in general, you have to bring in guys that can produce consistently. Is the problem that I had with Trey Galloway from a season ago. So that's a conversation for a different time. But with Essegian, I think it's down to us, and I think it's down to Nebraska. I think it's that simple. And if you're a recruit, why would you not pick Indiana? Why would you not? I mean, it's one of the biggest programs in the country. Why would you not come here and play? The only reason is maybe Nebraska can offer you a little bit more playing time, a little bit more guaranteed minutes than what we could here in Bloomington. But I think this guy would make us better regardless. We talked about him yesterday with his shooting ability, with his quick release, his shot off the bounce, off the dribble. I mean, I think he's a really good player. He can actually finish at the rim to get to the lane. And so I think he'd be a huge addition for this team. And I think the numbers are very misleading on him. And he would be a good bench addition to a depth piece for the Indiana Hoosiers. So he's been on a visit to Nebraska. I think it's down to Indiana and Nebraska, the Hoosiers and the Cornhuskers, and we'll have to see where that one goes. Another name that I want you to start being familiar with is Elijah Malone. He is the NAIA player of the year, and he was just on a visit yesterday to Indiana. He's 6'10", and he's got 1 year of eligibility remaining coming from Grace College. And he played high school ball right here in the state of Indiana. And last year as a senior, averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks per game, plus 2 assists per game as well, playing almost 25 minutes. And get this, as a 6'10" guy, shot 37% from 3, and his team was 34-2 and made it to their own Final Four. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. Those are great numbers. Now, yes, this is a different level of basketball. There's no doubt about it. It's a different level than what he would be seeing in the Big Ten and Power 6 basketball here in Bloomington, Indiana. But the player can play. The guy can play. He's a good asset to our team. And with the cooling off of Amari Williams from Drexel, especially with Oumar Ballo committing, you look at a guy like Elijah Malone, he's not looking to come start. He's looking to come in and just be a key role. He's looking to be a depth piece as well and just play some major level basketball because he can just flat out play. And imagine being able to have your 7-footer Ballo on the floor, and then if he gets in foul trouble or just when he takes his normal minutes off, you bring in a 6'10" guy who's got 4 or 5 years of college experience. Like, that is big time stuff. That's what you're trying to do in the transfer portal. That's what it's there for. All right, we've talked about this. That's what it's about, is to make your team better. And Elijah Malone will make your team better. He's a 6'10" guy that can shoot threes off the bench. That's scary as hell. Are you serious? Imagine him coming in and you're like, okay, we get a break. Oumar Ballo's on the bench. Thank goodness. Oh, who is this guy? Oh, he's shooting a 3. Oh my God, he made it. Right? He can do all those things. He scored 17 points a game. Also grabs rebounds, cleans up the board. He even dishes it out a little bit. And then he's a defensive presence inside, blocking 2.5 shots a game. That's what you want coming off the bench. You would feel a lot better when Ballo had to go sit down. The drop-off, I don't think, would be as significant as it would be with other guys in that spot. Or if you just aren't able to find a true center to back up Oumar Ballo, then you're really struggling with the drop-off when Oumar has to go sit down on the bench. So I think Elijah Malone is a good player. I think he'd be a good addition. I think the Hoosiers are definitely interested. You brought him on a visit, so you must like him somehow. I think he is somebody that would really just appreciate the opportunity. I think that's really where I go to this guy and why I would like to see him get the chance, because he hasn't played at this level before. He's played at tons of the smaller levels, smaller schools, D2, NAIA. I mean, he's played all these places. And he's somebody I would hope would be extremely grateful for this opportunity. And I know that's not the reason you do it most of the time, but sometimes it is. And I think Elijah Malone would appreciate that. His family would appreciate that. And overall, he just makes this team better, I would think, if you bring him in here. And he could back up Ballo as a center, 6'10", who grabs boards, can score, shoots it at over 65% from the floor, and he can shoot threes. Why not? That's my biggest thing. Why not bring in Elijah Malone and see what he can do for you if you're Mike Woodson and this coaching staff? Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, good news is Bryson Tucker has officially signed with the Indiana Hoosiers. The 5-star commit will be an Indiana Hoosier this fall. We'll talk about what that means and what he could bring to this team after this here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Look, I've been told that I'm a competitive person, and it's pretty much true. Yeah. And I do have a competitive side, and we all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. My entire family plays this game, and it's a lot of fun. We really do enjoy it. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends and my family. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also heist their vaults or vaults of riches for myself. And the leaderboards show me the biggest Monopoly tycoons. But it's not just the competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people from all around the world in time tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get the game and enjoy with your friends. Download Monopoly Go now, free on the App Store and on Google Play. Today's episode is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Look, passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. If you're new here on YouTube, be sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We continue to push towards 2,300 subscribers. So thank you so much for making that possible. If you're on the audio version, you can follow us on any of your audio platforms. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new free episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Well, I know this is not the craziest news in the world when it comes to the portal or anything like that, but in today's world of college sports, when you get a commitment from a big-time player, that's awesome, right? It's a lot of fun, it's big, it's exciting, but I always kind of stress inside a little bit. I'm always still a little worried until they officially sign on that dotted line, because up to that point, they can kind of change their mind, and they can change their mind and kind of do whatever they want to do. And they have every right to do that. They're 18, 19, 17 years old, right? But good news is Bryson Tucker, your five-star McDonald's All-American for Indiana basketball, has officially signed as of yesterday. So he's going to be here in Bloomington. And I know we have seen this story before, but I don't think he's going to back out of this. And I don't think he's going to ask for his NLI to be removed like we saw with McNeely. And again, more power to him, credit to him, best of luck to him. But Bryson Tucker is going to be an Indiana Hoosier. And look, he was a McDonald's All-American. He's played with all sorts of teams all over the country, all over the world, really. And he's ranked in the top 20, top 25 pretty much everywhere. I think 247 has him a little bit lower, but On3's got him at number 13 in the country. So kind of balance that out. He's a really, really good player. And look, I know some people are critical of how Indiana got him and why Indiana got him, since he was going to play professional basketball for the developmental league in the NBA, and then they shut that down. And so then basically he was left scrambling. It's like, oh crap, now what do I do? Now I got to go play college basketball. Indiana was involved. They were involved early, and he seemed to really like what we were selling. And so he committed, and now he has signed. And look, here's what Mike Woodson has to say about Bryson Tucker. He said, quote, Bryson has a chance to be impactful for our ball club right away. He has a polished offensive game with the size and strength to get to his spots on the floor. His mid-range game is very impressive, and he has the athleticism to get to and score efficiently at the rim. He is a talented young man that we cannot wait to work with when he gets to campus. And all of those things are extremely true. That's some of the things that make him really special, is that mid-range game. It's a very lost art in today's game of college basketball. Some guys are still doing it in the NBA, but in college basketball, it's a lost art for sure. And if you have the ability to put the ball on the floor, stop on a dime, whether it be a crossover, power dribble, whatever, and then pull up and knock down a free throw line jumper or knock it down from 12 to 15 feet, that's almost indefensible if you do it the right way, because it's so hard to stop it, because the defense is either playing the three or they're playing the drive. Most of them aren't waiting for you to stop and pop from 15 feet away. Bryson Tucker will, and he can knock it down. He's got a beautiful shooting stroke. I think he could even get better as a shooter, especially from the outside. But his mid-range game is something that can just generate offense. He's one of those bucket getters, right? When the offense is in a lull or the other team is on a huge run, Bryson Tucker is somebody that if he's on the floor with the ball in his hands, he can stop the run single-handedly. He can just say, I'm taking over, give me the ball, and I'm going to make a shot. And whether that be mid-range or getting to the rim, like Woody said there, he's got that ability too. He's just got so much power and speed with the ball in his hands, off the dribble at the top, and trying to get to the lane. He draws fouls, he shoots free throws. I mean, he can do it all. And his role is going to be interesting, and it could be limited and then grow as the year goes on. I'm curious on how we handle Bryson Tucker this year. But he's someone that's one of the best players in high school basketball that's coming in for the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, I know that he's the only recruit coming in, which is crazy to think about in today's world, but it is what it is. Hey, before he committed, we didn't have anybody, thanks to McNeely pulling his letter of intent, right? Then we had nothing coming in, and that was not going to be acceptable for me, and I don't think it was going to be acceptable for you either. But you bring in Bryson Tucker, who has a chance to just be really, really good, who was already good enough to go and not even play college basketball and just go and try to get to the NBA. And that's exactly what he's trying to do. And the Indiana Hoosiers have a history of doing that. We just talked about Trace Jackson Davis yesterday and what he's been able to do. And I know they're a little bit different positions, but you see what I'm saying here. He's not the only one. We've put a ton of guys in the league. So Bryson Tucker has to be able to do that. And Indiana has to know that. I think that's really important here. You have to understand he's trying to develop and get better and go play professional basketball. I'm sure he does want to win, and I'm sure he wants to compete in college, and I'm sure winning championships would be a lot of fun for him. But that's not really why he's here. He's here to get better. He's here for him, and he's here to make it to the NBA. And you can't blame him, because right before this, you didn't have him. You were not on his radar. He didn't care about college basketball because he was going to play developmental league, and now he is coming to you. So you have to respect that if you're Mike Woodson and this coaching staff. But now that he is in college, it's a two-way street. He has to respect the fact that he's playing college basketball, that he has to buy into the team. He has to buy into the culture and everything that it takes to be a college teammate. And if those two things happen from the Indiana side and the Bryson Tucker side, I think really good things are going to happen here. I think he can develop. I think he can help this team win. And I think he can go and play in the NBA someday. And it's really exciting to see what Bryson Tucker can bring to this Indiana squad coming up this year. Coming up in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll take a little transition. We'll look at the football side of things as the spring game was from last night. Don't want to overreact because it is just a spring game, but there are some really good things to highlight here from Curt Cignetti in his first spring game for the Indiana Hoosiers. We'll talk about that after this on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Look, Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And I can back that up. I haven't bought for baseball yet, but did it a couple of times for some basketball games this past year. And it's right. Game Time literally, not that you want to wait until the last possible second, but if you have to, or if you just make a sudden decision, hey, let's go to the game tonight, the tickets are going to be cheaper on Game Time over anywhere else. I'm telling you that from personal experiences. You've got to check it out. You can buy baseball tickets, playoff tickets right now for NBA, NHL, or they've still got comedy and theater and all those sorts of things. Game Time is the way to go for what you want with your ticket purchases. Last minute tickets, flash deals, their zone deals, and my favorite part, your view from your seat in every single venue, and it is spot on. It's completely accurate. It doesn't just drop you in a random spot and hope that it's close. It lets you see your view from your seat each and every time. So that's what my favorite part is. And their lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So that's pretty much a lock. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. Again, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, helps us grow. Share it with your family, with your friends, with anybody that is an Indiana Hoosiers fan. We want them to be a part of this wonderful community, and we appreciate you doing that. Also on audio, follow us, hit the notification so you never miss a new episode. On the football side, with the spring game last night for Indiana football, Curt Cignetti in his first year here with Indiana, and it was a little bit different of a spring game format. And it's interesting, too, when it's during the week. It's, a lot of teams, a lot of schools, a lot of programs put their spring games on a Saturday, right? Saturday afternoon or whatever. But Indiana, here we get it again in the middle of the week on a Thursday. And I like it. It's something different. It's just, it's out there. You get to do your own thing. You're not thrown in the mix with 30 other spring games on a Saturday. Like, it's just, I like how it went, and I like how we continue to do it that way. And we haven't done one in a while, but here we are again, back doing spring football, and Curt Cignetti's squad was on the field for the first time, and we got a chance to see that. And a couple of notes that I want to talk about. A is Curtis Rourke, the Ohio transfer quarterback who has 4 years of experience and is going to be your starter this fall. It didn't start out great. Right? Didn't start out great. I don't know if any of you got the chance to watch it or go or anything like that, but Curtis Rourke was a little bit slower start, had a turnover, had a bad penalty, and also had some drops. But overall, his command was really good. His control was good. And I think the offense really flowed when he was running things. And even through those adversities, even through some of the things that he could control or couldn't control, aka drops, I think he just was calm, cool, and collected. He was a cool cat, man. He just showed that he has been here before, that he's played college football before. And let me say this, too, before we really get into this. It's a spring game. Don't overthink it. Don't overread. Don't overlisten, right? I'm going to tell you some things that I thought, and you're probably going to go and read some things, too, and you may have even watched it, but it's a spring game, man. Don't forget what this truly is. It's a practice. That's what it is. It is a practice for the team that just happens to be in a certain game type format, but don't overthink it, man. It's not that big of a deal. And you cannot take this for everything. You can't take the quarterback performance or the defensive performance, the corners, the linebackers, anything good or bad, and say, well, we're doomed. We're doomed. The corners are terrible. Oh, running backs are great. They're going to be the best one in the Big Ten. No, you can't do that here. But you can look at it objectively and say, okay, what looks good? What looked not so good? What can we take away from it? And a couple of things. Mentioned Curtis Rourke already. I think he looked good. I think he's going to be really good. And is he going to be the best quarterback in the conference? No, probably not. But I think he's going to give Indiana something that we've needed, which is that senior leadership and the true leader. Not that we haven't had experienced guys, because we have at the quarterback spot, but I think you're going to see a very controlled Curtis Rourke who can settle everybody else down and settle the game down when it gets out of control or when it's just going the wrong way. He's going to be able to do that with this offense. And I also think he's going to be able to do that because of what he has behind him in the trio of running backs that the Hoosiers have, which I do think could be one of the best in the Big Ten between Justice Ellison, Tyson Lawton, and Kalen Black, and Ellison got most of the snaps last night. You need to lean on this, and I'm sure that Curt Cignetti and this coaching staff will. I'm sure they saw the same thing I did. These guys are studs, and if your offensive line can hold, which will be a big question, at least make some gaps for the guys to get through, that'll take a lot of pressure off of Curtis Rourke, and I think the offense can kind of begin to build a little bit. I know the defense has been bad in the past, and offense hasn't been the biggest concern at times, but you still got to score to win games. You still got to outscore your opponent to win. That rule hasn't changed. I know it's crazy. If you lean on the run game, then that'll take some pressure off of Curtis Rourke, who's throwing to a very raw but talented wide receiver room, where there's too many guys in there to highlight right now. They're going to be really good, but it's going to take them some time. That's what I saw on the offensive side. I like Rourke. I like the running backs. Offensive line's got to do their job, got to get some guys there and get them ready to go and try to get the football to these playmakers on the outside because they're there. Everything just has to come together for the Hoosiers offense. Defensively, corners and safeties, secondary really is going to be the struggle, as it has been in the past, where getting beat on deep balls and getting beat on crossing routes and just getting outran at times, like those things have to be better. There's no doubt about it. But I also think the linebackers are extremely good, man. And you bring in some James Madison guys, especially on the defensive side of the football, that are going to help you with that and help you kind of maintain to get the season started before you fully get into the year. And I think that's where you're going to see the biggest improvement. It may not be the best position. It may not be the best group on the defensive side, like just defense in general. I think the linebackers will be one of the best spots on the team. I'm saying the defense as a whole, I'm not saying that it's going to be great by any means because I just don't know. But I do think you're going to see some improved players and improved positions, including the linebacker spot. And so overall, it wasn't bad. Nobody got seriously hurt as far as I know. And that's always a win in spring games. That's always one of the biggest stressors of a coach when you do these spring games. You put that in quotations. It's a practice, but overall, spring is wrapped up. You've got the portal, and I think the Hoosiers will probably make a couple of additions there. And then you move into summer. You got summer workouts, and then fall practice will begin before you know it. August is around the corner, folks. We're end of April, getting near it now. And you'll have May, June, July. I mean, you got 3 months, and then August is here. Fall practice will begin, and football season will be there before you know it. So we'll see how it goes with the spring games in the books. Curt Cignetti, his first one as the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Look, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you making this your first listen and truly adding this in your rotation each and every day. Again, like our video, please, on YouTube. It helps get it out there, shares it across the world. Subscribe to our channel. You'll never miss an episode here on YouTube. And if you're on audio, be sure you follow us there. Turn on the notifications, hit the little bell. You'll never miss a free episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Potential big news over the weekend. We'll have all of that for you coming up on Monday. If it's anything crazy groundbreaking, we'll have a shock episode. So always be tuning back in and have those notifications turned on for Locked On Hoosiers so you never miss a new episode. Have a great weekend. Until Monday, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.